Hey, this is Chadillac, and you're here with the Cage Rage podcast. CRP's bringing you Outside the Cage presents Wage Rage, where you can make lots of money in a little bit of time. So if you give us 6 to 10 minutes, I guarantee you're going to be able to go in and make a lot of money because we are kicking ass and taking names. And that's a fact. You can check our numbers, and you will see that we are on top of things hard and fast and furious. There are fights coming up this weekend. Golden Boy's at it again with DAZN. The Toyota Center, Houston, Texas, Saturday the 26th. I think the fight starts at 7 o'clock. Check your times. You'll figure that out. I'm here with Anthony Scott Piatt, fight analyst, and archivist and analyst Miguel, also matchmaker for a million years, as long as I've known him, and a million other things that he's done. Scott, go ahead and take us through the bantamweight. There's a super bantamweight fight that starts 10 rounds. Go ahead.
You got it, my man. Edgar Ortega versus Alberto Milian. Negative 430 on Milian and plus 310 underdog for Ortega. Now, Milian's only had 3 fights. He's 3-0. But his third fight was against a 10-0 Sergio Sosa. His debut was against a 23-2 opponent. He didn't do the normal come out and sort of fight some guys that's also their debut or have a losing record. 23-2 was his very first opponent. So he's got 2 knockouts in his first 3 fights. And he's fighting a guy that it started off pretty well. His third fight, Edgar Ortega, 6-0 Camacho was a draw. He fought some decent people, but then he sort of got in some draws late, and he's fought really some guys with horrible records lately. So I don't know that he's really tuned up for this. I'm going to go with Milian knockout in the 8th on this fight.
Miguel, what do you got on that?
Just to cover the full round on Milian. Milian, one of those guys that comes with a huge amateur career, and that's why you see him rushed into 10-round fights. He really is just about a 10-round pro at this point with the level of experience. He participated in 2 Olympic Games representing Argentina. Now he's turned pro. And, once you spend time dedicated to 2 Olympic Games, you've eaten up some time that a lot of people spend up as pros, right? So that's why you see the fast track for this kid on his career. Big things are expected of him. And here, they're bringing him along. He's favored in fights against guys with good resumes, and that's kind of what you expect. Check back in about 18 months. We'll see how far along they've gotten him.
For this one, leave it alone. No money to be made. Is that correct, guys?
I mean, you're laying out 4-1 on Milian. It'll probably go that way. Ortega, solid, but someone may not be taking care of him at this point in his career. If they were matchmaking reverse to take care of him, and he was favored, Ortega might benefit from that here. Here, I think we'll see the skill level show up. Milian, a really deep resume that doesn't show on a 3-0 record.
Okay, great. So we go into this super. I'm sorry, Scotty. What's that?
I just wanted to add that in 13 fights, his opponent, Ortega, has only got 5 knockouts. So you're not going to beat this Olympian by boxing him. You'd have to knock him out. The guy's not a knockout artist. That's why I say no underdog pick.
Okay, so just stay away from this fight altogether. Just no money to be made in it. Super lightweight, 10-round fight. Go ahead and take it away, Scotty. What have we got on this one? We've got a huge difference here.
Huge favorite, Virgil Ortiz Jr. He comes in at a negative 42.50. I mean, look, 11-0, 11 knockouts. The con with Virgil is that he's never faced a fighter that was coming off a win. If you go back and look at his record, each fighter he's fought, and some of them only had 1 loss, but that 1 loss was just before they faced Ortiz. That's the only blemish I can find on an 11-0, 11 knockout deal. The pros is he's knocked them all out by the 3rd round. He's never gone past the 3rd round in those 11 fights. He's fighting Jesus Valdez Baryon, who's a plus 1,700, 23-4-1. One thing to note, the only knockout loss for Baryon comes against Jesus Rojas. I'm going to call Jesus Rojas is the thread of the fights. He's in our next fight. And he also is the only fella to knock out somebody on the Fox card that we're going to get to. So watch that Wage Rage 2 after you watch this one, folks. He's the only guy to knock out Claudio Marrero, who's fighting King Tug on the next fight. We'll get to that. So Jesus Rojas is that common thread. But look for Virgil to win this one. I'm going with Virgil knockout in the 3rd round on this one.
Miguel,
what do you got on
think,
the history the background?
Miguel, what do you say on that one?
Yeah, I concur. We can move on to the top 2 fights of the card. We got 2 world title fights on the next one. The first one comes in the featherweight division. You got Jesus Rojas, as my partner here stated. He's in a feature fight here on the DAZN at minus 550. He's taking on Kenzu. Kenzu coming back at plus 400. This is one of the things that boxing, I think, really does well at times, and that is capture, accept that it is an ethnic sport and capture, a rivalry like an Asian fighter versus a Latin fighter and things like that. I think that, fans of all creeds and colors benefit with what could be a terrific fight.
Scotty?
Yeah, I agree. I got Rojas knockout in the 6th round, despite his opponent's can-do attitude.
Okay. Oh, man.
Yeah.
Wow.
I concur with that. I think what you see here is, China's a sleeping giant in terms of combat sports and, boxing as well. But they're behind now. And, you see that with the UFC's efforts in MMA. We're going over to China. It hasn't been full throttle, And the fact is you're going to need an Asian star, so that has to develop. And I think you're going to find here that the level of boxing is higher in Latin America than in Asia.
Great. So we move on to the last fight of the night. We got a super welterweight, 12 rounds. Miguel, take me through this. Wait a minute. Scotty, go ahead and take me through the fight first. Miguel, I've got something to ask you afterwards.
No problem. Yeah, I've got the numbers in front of me, and Miguel will give us the background. So Jaime Munguia, huge favorite, negative 6,000. He's 31-0, 26 knockouts. Just his last 3 fights. Brandon Cook was 20-1, knocked him out in the 3rd. Liam Smith, 26-1-1, beat him by decision. Saddam Ali was 26-1-0, and Munguia knocked him out in the 4th. So he's on a heck of a run. If you switch over to Takeshi Inoue, it was his 8th fight until he fought out of Japan, and his opponent was 0-12. His first fight was a draw. So yeah, he's 13-0-1, but he's really not fought much competition. And in 14 fights, 7 knockouts. Again, as an underdog, you're going to have to knock out the champ probably to beat him or be really fast. Munguia, this is a no-bet situation. Watch Munguia add to his record. The background on Munguia, I'll defer to Miguel, of course.
Okay, great. Miguel, tell the audience what's going on. Negative 6,000 plus 2750. What is the reason someone should bet on this? Why would somebody bet on this?
Well, the bottom line is the writing's on the wall here, and it looks like Munguia is going to defend. So you got to start with that. Now, what this may, especially if you're an MMA fan, this type of line may be unusual, but it is more prevalent in boxing. We see 2 4-figure lines in boxing, and sometimes here, because of the sophistication of boxing, you may just want to play the underdog, because every once in a while somebody breaks through, and it's just playing the odds and nothing to do in particular with the fighters, because what the numbers mean for those who don't get into the details is a minus 6,000 means you got to risk $6,000 in order to win $100 for Munguia on a bet here. So I mean, if you're hard up and if you have $6,000, you don't really need another 100. So why risk it? So if there's something to this type of odds, I think it's meant to drive people away. Now, however, if you have an extra $100 laying around, you might want to throw it on Inoue because the payback is, $27.50. That's what the numbers mean. So why would you put that on Inoue? Like I said, boxing is a strange way of, over the course of 15, 20, 25 of these fights, 1 or 2 will hit. And, in the case of Inoue, you're talking about a situation where, as our friend Scott pointed out, that, he's been brought along and it looks like he's been taking care of his first fight outside of Japan against a fighter with a limited record where it looks like he was obviously being brought along a bit. And so you're protected until you're not. And in Japan, I think that's one place where you want to look at those signs, because if by his eighth fight they were taking him outside of Japan, somebody saw something in him. And maybe there's something there. Maybe they're wrong. Maybe they're just backing the wrong horse, which, happens more often than not. But maybe there's something there. So they take him out of the country. Now he comes for this fight, his world championship fight. And he's traveled. He's done a couple of things. He's done they've done a couple of the right steps there. And at the end of the day, and in boxing, you got to take your hats off to the Japanese fighters. They come to fight. They come to go out on a shield. And he'll come in if he meets the stock. There've been others cuties that Japan's a place that's ahead of the rest of Asia in boxing. I mean, they're right there with the Philippines, Asia, China. I'm talking ahead of China, ahead of Korea, ahead of other countries there. But in Japan, if he comes to fight and he comes to give his all, then you always have the puncher's chance.
Okay, so in 10 seconds or less, tell me, do you bet on him tonight, or do you bet on him this week or not?
In particular, for him to win the fight, that's not what you're betting on here. But if for a future strategy, you're going to look and eye some of these underdogs and start taking them, knowing that at some point you will break through, it is a nice payday. This is one of those opportunities only because I don't think Inoue is going to be in there to be embarrassed. I think has a lot of pressure on himself this early in his career. In a world championship fight, at the end of the day, he has to go back to Japan. So, the sponsors there, everybody there, he's coming to fight. He's going to want to do a good show. So I think that carries some weight. I put $100 on it if I had it laying around.
Okay, so Miguel's taking the dog watch then, and he's saying put it on Inoue. Put your $100 on it. Hopefully you walk away with $27.50. Scotty, you're saying stay away?
This is not one that I'm interested in. Let me say I definitely agree with Miguel's philosophy on it.
Okay.
That $27.50, that means you could bet on 26 fights and lose, and that 27th one to hit, and you still break even. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
So his theory is sound. I don't particularly think this is one, right, with Munguia on the other side that I would go for. And that's it. But also we just did a show, Chad, we can throw people back to about dog watch versus dog picks.
Yeah.
So this would fall into that dog watch category. We're watching him because maybe it can happen, right? Whereas a dog pick is a guy who's actually an underdog, but we expect him to win. And to that end, I want to just get a couple of shout outs real quick. On that show, we mentioned how we picked Caleb Plant on the 13th as a plus 170 underdog. He became the new champ. On the 18th, Oscar Rivas plus 165. He became the new champ. We then did a podcast and said, watch for tonight because we think Marcus Brown at a plus 155 against Badu Jack is going to become, the next contender. He's going to beat him, and that's exactly what happened. We called him by decision, and it was by decision. That brought our record from 47-2-1 to 55-3-1. Jorge Linares went to sleep in that first round. I still can't figure out what happened there. He came in defeated.
Hey, and folks, that's not including our MMA. Listen, we're way over on this. We got to wrap it up. Right. Scotty, Miguel, I appreciate your time. This has been Wage Rage. If you like what we do, slam that button right down there and subscribe to us. Send us your messages. Let us know what you think. Share with everybody. Tell everybody about us. Start spreading the word. The CRP is here to stay. Wage Rage, where you can make some money and it matters. Put it in your pocket. Till next time, namaste.